Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm really excited because I have another store visit to tell you about. I was recently down in Connecticut for a convention. I'm going to have a couple videos to show off all the cool stuff I got at the convention. But while I was down there, I also got to visit a comic book store. It's Sucker Punch Comics in Stamford, Connecticut. Now, I've been to a lot of comic stores, as you know. We're getting up to almost 80 comic stores since I started documenting my comic store visit. So I've been to a lot of comic stores, and at this point, honestly, I have pretty low expectations when I go into comic stores because, as you know, I like to collect romance and vintage Archie stuff and offbeat books. And a lot of comic stores just don't have any of that stuff. So I'm used to going into comic stores and they just don't have anything I'm interested in. But I've got to say, Sucker Punch Comics in Stamford, Connecticut is absolutely worth your time. If you're driving through the area, which is something that a lot of people do because it's right in between the Merritt Parkway, Route 15, and I-95, and this little gap in between those, both of which are basically, if you're leaving New England and going to New York City or vice versa, you're going right through Stamford, right? It's definitely worth stopping there at Sucker Punch Comics because they had a lot of great stuff. First of all, it's a really cool space. They had a lot of gaming tables. They had a pinball machine, but they also had a bunch of comics and a lot of back issues. Great big section of dollar bin books, but also a lot of like big ticket wall books, and in the case up front, a lot of Silver Age stuff, Bronze Age stuff. They had Golden Age books in the case. They had ECs. They had some cool Golden Age pre-code horror books, and they also had the superhero keys that you're looking for, you know, your Amazing Spider-Man 300s and that sort of thing. They had a bunch of like really cool Silver Age Superman books that I was really tempted to get, even though I don't collect Superman. Like they had Superman 146, which has one of the great covers of the Silver Age. It's a retelling of Superman's origin story with a tremendous cover and a lot of Silver Age sort of retcons and details stuff. They had another great Silver Age Superman issue, the first Lex Luthor Brainiac team up book. And these weren't that expensive. It's like $25 for those. Anyway, they had a bunch of great stuff. So totally worth your time. I'm going to show you, I only picked up a few things because I spent so much money at the convention that I mentioned that I just didn't have a ton of money, but they did have a lot of stuff I was interested in. They also had a couple boxes of underground books, so they had a lot of interesting stuff. They had some underground keys as well, the names of which I'm blanking on because I'm not that familiar with underground, but I recognize some of the covers and some of the issues as being sort of the more famous big like underground comics from the 60s and 70s. So a lot of really cool stuff in there. One thing I bought that I'm not going to be able to show you because I gave it to my brother-in-law was a beat-up copy of one of my favorite issues of Lois Lane. It's issue 110, where she adopts a Native American baby and becomes a social pariah as a result. So I had to give that to my brother-in-law, who has recently gotten into comics. But I did pick up a few things. So first of all, the dollar bins I mentioned. You can't go wrong with a 15-cent DC in the dollar bins. It's Sugar and Spike number 95. Sugar and Spike, a really great series. The people that are into Sugar and Spike are really into Sugar and Spike. It's one of the few series where they had their own DC logo up there. And there's a lot of hardcore Sugar and Spike collectors. This is one of the last issues of the book. There's a couple issues shortly after this where they goes to the big 25-cent DC era. But I think issue 98 is the last issue of the series. It's too bad it didn't make it to the big Magic 100 number. But unfortunately, the creator of the book, Sheldon Mayer, who did everything with the book, writing and art and everything, my understanding is he had some health issues and basically had to stop making it for those reasons with issue 98. And since it was such a personal thing where he did all 98 issues himself, when he left, the series ended. So it wasn't really a sales issue. It was just the creator couldn't do it anymore. I have a couple other issues of Sugar and Spike from the end of the run as well. But for $1, I mean, how can you pass that up? Also out of the dollar bin here, Now, I've talked before about how I'm not a big fan of Wizard. I just don't like Wizard's impact on the industry. But at the same time, there's also a certain amount of nostalgia for me. I didn't like it at the time, I should say. You would think that I would. This is issue 13, cover dated September 1992. Now, I graduated high school in June of 1992. So in September 1992 was the first month beginning of my college days, right? And so the high school, beginning of college, super into the comics, and you would think that this would have been something that I loved, but actually I didn't really care for it at the time because I was a big fan at the time of the Overstreet Price Guide updates, and I felt like their price guide was much more based in reality. The Wizard price guide, I could tell immediately, was just a bunch of BS, and basically just them hyping their own books. And I don't want to get into all of the crap with Wizard, but I never liked it. However, now that we're 30 years removed from Wizard, there is definitely a nostalgia factor for me in seeing books from this time period. Even though I'm not nostalgic for Wizard, I certainly have nostalgia for the comics of the time. And these issues do provide a great snapshot of what collecting was like at the time. This is right when Image is coming out, and they have the huge speculator boom is just starting here in 1992. And so I picked this up. Now, some of you who've been watching for a while may remember that maybe a year or so ago, I picked up Wizard number 3 out of a different dollar bin. I did a whole video where I went through Wizard number 3. So let me know what you think down below. But I think I might do another video here where I go through Wizard number 13, show the artworks. We can look at the top 10 list, see what was hot, laugh at the price guide, and all that sort of thing. So again, pure nostalgia. Like the back cover, for instance, is an advertisement for the debut of the 2099 series of a line of books from Marvel. So there's a lot of nostalgia there. Now let's get to the main back issues haul here. Only 3 back issues, but all really cool. First of all, this was only $3. I should say the prices were pretty good at the store. It's My Only Love number 6 from Charlton, which has a great cover on it. So let me pull back so you can see the whole thing. And then let me zoom in so you can see the line work on the cover. So really great cover. This series only lasted, I think, 6 or 7 issues. All the covers are really good. I don't know who the artist is. I feel like I should, though. I've seen this artist's work on other Charltons, but it's not signed, and I can't place it. But I was really excited to see that. Also, this is mid-grade. I mean, I say mid-grade. It's lower mid-grade, maybe in the 4 range, but it's tight, clean, great colors. It's Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 18. Now, I'm getting down there with this series. I'm missing, I think I have issues 27 and up, and then I have some other issues in the 20s. So I'm getting to the point where I'm not too many more issues before I'm going to basically just have numbers 1 to 17 left to get. This is Lois Lane Weds Astounding Man. I'm going to read what it says here. You can see the picture. Lois is saying, "Darling, you're the first man in the universe who has been able to make me forget Superman. I can't wait until we're married." And then Superman's thinking, poor Lois. He's always thinking that. Poor Lois. She doesn't know the horrible shock in store for her when she finds out who her super boyfriend really is. Superman's such a tool. Every issue of this, Mort Weisinger, legendary tool, and everything that he did during this era. I mean, there was some cool stuff in Silver Age Superman, don't get me wrong, but Superman is such an absolute jerk face. That's why we love these issues. And finally, I was very excited to get this. I mentioned the Underground comics. Now, in a previous video, when I went to Outer Limits just a little while ago, just a couple videos ago, I got a couple issues of women's comics. I think it was issue 6 and 8, maybe. And I already have issue 7, but I've never seen this before. Check it out. It is Women's Comics #1. This was $15. It's probably 4.5 or 5 maybe. Um, you know, it's hard with the undergrounds to sometimes tell what printing it is, and it doesn't say on here, like they haven't labeled it. It does have a 50-cent price point, so my guess is it's probably a first print, but it might be a second. I don't know. I haven't really researched it at all. A lot of times with these, the price point is raised, and you can tell which printing it is from the price point, but not always. Sometimes they have multiple printings at the same price, so I don't know. But either way, here it is, Women's Comics #1. You see these guys, this couple's kissing in the foreground, and then the woman in the background is thinking, except for being fat, ugly, pimple-faced, bad-tempered, and selfish, you'd think he'd see I'm a much better choice. And then it says in the blurb, inside this issue, sex, revelation, psychotic adventure, and more. There is a signature, but one thing you may have noticed, if you happen to notice during the video my crazy eyes, it's because I just recently came back from a doctor visit where they dilated my pupils. So the signature is too small for me to read because of my crazy eyeballs. But really excited here to get Women's Comics #1. All of a sudden I find myself putting together a little bit of a collection of this. Now I know this ran for, well, I'm not sure how long it ran, over 16 issues. I know that. I've got 4 of them so far, so still a long ways to go, but I was really happy to get this. So that was it. Small haul. Let me know what you think down below. But again, if you're going up that I-95 corridor in or out of New York City, you're going to have to pass through Stamford or by Stamford, Connecticut. It's on the north end of the city, so it's closer to the Meriden Parkway. But it's a great shop, and it's in a cool little area there. There's like a little village that used to be a separate town that was absorbed by Stamford. And there's like some cool cafes and like a bunch of cool little shops there. So check that out. Great store there. Let me know what you think down below. I'll see you next time.